Dear friends, this is Vinney Chopra. Thank you for liking the podcast and all the shows. Vinny and Walter, we do that Abundance Mindset show, which goes live in all social channels on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, and also Vinny and Bo show, which goes also on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And thank you for really liking the books and all the content that my team puts out for you. Please enjoy this episode. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Hi there, guys. Hey, Vinney Chopra back again with a great guest here on our podcast, Apartment Syndication Made Easy. I've got a great friend, Bob. Bob Lachance is here, and we're going to talk. He's from RevaCap Global. It's a great virtual assistant company, right, Bob? Let me just introduce Bob. He's the founder and CEO of the Reva Global. It's a leading virtual assistant staffing company for real estate professionals, which we are. Most of my followers are in real estate. Bob, a former professional hockey player. Bob spent 8 years in the ice. Oh, wow, that's good. Diving into time between the teams in the United States and the Europe. After retiring from hockey, he transferred into a real estate and now acquired his many flips he's been doing since 2004. Over the course of his career, Bob has successfully closed over 2,000 transactions, including over 240 deals in 2022 alone. That is amazing. Hey, Bob, welcome. So tell us about your humble beginnings and how you got into all this thing.
No. First of all, thanks for having me. It's great to see you again, of course. I see you're in Hawaii. Lovely Hawaii with the nice wind behind you.
I'm in California near San Francisco in my family room, actually. But I just love to have different virtual backgrounds so that it makes me fun.
Absolutely. So anyway, just give you a 2-second rundown. Obviously, there's a lot for us to cover, and you have an incredible podcast. And thank you for giving such incredible giveaways that people could take action on. So thanks again. A 2-second rundown. Like I said, or like you said a little bit earlier, played professional hockey for 8 years, and upon retiring, towards the end of my career, a lot of people are thinking. I know a lot of your listeners are possibly thinking about jumping into real estate or looking at something else, right? Maybe they're in an industry like, I don't know, maybe they're a doctor, lawyer that they're looking to jump into real estate, or someone that's working construction. I know that it runs the gamut, but I was in the same situation. So I was playing hockey, and I don't know if whoever's listening to this, whoever played sports, but there's not much education when you're in a hockey locker room. You're not sitting there talking to your neighbor saying, hey, this is what happens when you build a house. I had no education when it comes to that side of it. I went to school for 4 years. I dropped out before I actually got my degree. So I had nothing to fall back on. And Vinny, what's a great industry to jump in with no barriers of entry? What do you think?
Real estate, brother. I'm the guy who owned homes, single family homes, 17, 18 years back. I did not know literally what LOI was, letter of intent. Because you buy a single family home, you never put a letter of intent. You just go into contract, right? Cap rate, cash on cash. I didn't know nothing, but now I teach.
The great thing about that, to your point, is you don't need to know anything about real estate at all. If you jump in, obviously, in the multifamily side, you need to know a little more. You need to educate yourself with individuals, obviously, like yourself. But in the single family world, it's a lot easier just to jump in and then learn a little bit. So that's what I did. What I did. I did my first flip back in 2004 and jumped in. I did everything from short sales to help, run and start a couple different education programs. And then, while flipping and while coaching, I actually realized that there was a need out there. And that was a need for help, because as you're a solopreneur, you're looking around saying, oh, I have all of these tasks to do. And you just feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose. You feel overwhelmed. And a lot of us, when you're solopreneurs, you have a budget, right? You start looking at that and you say, all right, how am I going to be able to afford an employee? Because a lot of us can't. You look at, I think California just raised their minimum wage up to $18 an hour.
I know. I live near San Francisco myself. You're right, brother. Minimum wage is so high. You bet.
And you're not going to get a 4-year college degree person for minimum wage, right? So that's the challenge. And I started realizing this back in literally 2010 when I started working with a lot of coaching students. A lot of the same challenges that we have today were back then, where when I was working with students and I was working my own business, saying, all right, I have a budget. How could I bring someone on to help? And then fast forward to 2013, I got introduced to what a virtual assistant was. And I'm like, you know what? I think that this could be an answer that I could actually refer to my students. That's really why I created this company. And
I love it.
I used them myself, just like you. I know you use a lot of virtual assistants.
Yep.
So I used virtual assistants myself. And then I realized, you know what? If I marry 2014, I'm like, if I marry the education program that I helped start with the virtual assistant world and the investment side, there could be a business there. So
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. I tell my friends, and even in my previous life as a fundraising consultant, motivational speaker, I used to tell everybody in our team or company, hey, you have a virtual assistant yourself. You have an assistant, and you look in the mirror, you see that assistant there, because part of the day, in the day, you're working for $5 an hour jobs or $7 or $10 job. But certain times when you're dealing with deals with investors and you're preparing, you're making $100 an hour or $500 an hour. So everybody's got an assistant, they just don't know it. And it's good to give that delegation outside to people like you. So tell me about your company. How does somebody get into, and what's the parameters? Do you ask them to fill out a questionnaire, or at least take
so I do a lot of podcasts, obviously, with yourself. We have property managers, we have some companies that are private equity companies, we have smaller individuals that wholesale rehabs. We have everyone from the gamut. We also have a medical side too as well. Just insurance verifications, prior authorizations, but that's outside, obviously, my real estate side. And we train a lot on what I do in my own business. So we've done, last year we did over 200 plus transactions. This year we're on pace to do the same. And obviously I have my virtual assistant company. So we teach our virtual assistants what we do here. And then we work with clients all over the country that need assistance. Yeah, that's basically what we focus on.
I got it. So which one then would you say, out of so many virtual assistant sectors, which ones are the top 5 that a lot of solopreneurs can really use and delegate, right? Do you train them also? Do you vet them? You train them, they're on your payroll, but solopreneurs pay you and you take care of them? Correct. Or how does it work?
Correct. So we train them for about a month, and that's what we cover the cost as a company. So they're under our umbrella, they train, and then we train. And I like to say that all of our businesses are probably 20% different. 80%, majority of our business are very similar. It always goes back to 80-20 rule, right? I know you've talked about it on one of your past shows about 80-20 rule.
Yes,
it's the same thing. So we teach them 80% of what they could know. And then it's for me personally, so I have over 20 virtual assistants in my own business. I have 20% that is proprietary to me. That's a little different than the way you run business or the way someone in my own market would run a business. So what I do is then I put that 20% into them, into how they actually, they're going to run and help me run my business.
Got it. So essentially then, how would somebody really determine? See, many times when I do podcasts or I do interviews, they say, Vinney, I just don't know how to delegate. I don't know how to find the person, and how can I keep them accountable? That's the other part. As a solopreneur, it's so hard to really sit down. We are gunning everything, right? How would you tell somebody like that how to hunker down, and what exercises they need to do to find the right match?
That's a very good question, because you look at it and you say, okay, there's income producing tasks and non-income producing tasks. You touched upon it a little bit earlier, right? I heard one of my buddies said back in the day, if you're doing $10 an hour tasks, you're gonna have a $10 an hour bank account, right? Exactly what you just said. So what you have to do is write down, like, meeting with sellers, meeting with buyers, those are income producing tasks, because that could put money in your pocket. But if you're think about this, if you're, as an example, you're sending out direct mail, if you're just sitting on the phone and you send out, let's say every Monday you send out 1,000 pieces or 2,000 pieces. I know everyone's different, but you get, 50 calls a week, and you're only allowed to, or you only have time to call 20 of them back, or even if you get through your 50, you only got 3 people to answer. Now the next week you do the same. Now you have 100 leads. Next week you do the same. You have 150 leads. Now there's only so much time you could do to call those sellers back to see if they're actually interested and to get them on the phone. So a great task for a virtual assistant would be to continually follow up with all of those leads that you have in your database. That'd be an example of a non-income producing task for us.
Yes, I love it. I love it because everybody, I always say marketing and sales is the engine of every business. If the revenues don't come in, and then nothing at the bottom, then the commissions and this and all those things. The key thing, what you're just saying, is having the system set up. Like I use Go High Level, which is a very good system, very robust system. I've started 3-4 years back, and now I've got automations built in and 63 emails going out and texting going out simultaneously after a few ink time lapses and all, newsletters going out, and then calendars are set up on all my social channels and this thing, so we can see which channel is bringing things in. But you're right, the virtual assistants, you can be inundated, somebody like me or any solopreneur, if we have so many leads come in and leads die in real time. And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, you look at everything that we have, you nailed it. You said you have, 63 channels, right? Think about it. If you have a lead come in and if you don't follow up those leads, what's going to happen? Think about this. If you have an ad online, right? And somebody's motivated and they fill out, let's say you're number 1 on Google, they'll fill out yours. If you don't get back to them in a certain time, guess what's going to happen? They're going to fill out the next one and the next one until somebody responds back to them. So to our example that we're talking about, if you have all these leads coming in, if you do not continue to follow up with them, because if you look at all properties that you look in every business, I think the national average is it takes 7 to 12, even more touches to actually get someone under contract or a deal closed. That's in any type of sales, right? And it could be, I think it's getting worse and worse, meaning it's more and more touches, right? It's getting harder and harder.
Yep. So true. So true. No, having a follow-up system, having virtual assistant, again, a good voice and somebody who could really interact and represent you well with the clients. And there's a I know AI is taking over, artificial intelligence, but at the same token, the human touch is going to be needed to really make those relationships. When I want a $500,000 investor, they need to funnel through all the hoops to get to me. And then I'm able to sit down and make sure that they have the trust and everything so that they can come into my fold. No, thank you. Thank you so much. What other things come to your mind which can really help to have new people get started using virtual assistants? I know I talk a lot on my show a lot. Yeah.
And I would say you look at everything you got, like you said, marketing, right? Marketing and branding. You always need to be throwing stuff up. You do a great job online with your presence. So I recommend if you're newer, you could do a podcast, go on your podcast. You could go on other people's podcasts, or take your camera and walk through a property and then get a video on. You could send it over to your virtual assistant and they could post for you. They could put all the subtitles in. They could post on all these different sites, whether it's Instagram Reels, whether it's Facebook. I know TikTok is still around and all these other sites. So I think that is very important, especially for new individuals, because their face has to be out there all the time, because it takes a little time to get the ball rolling. And I always say this, and you said this in one of your last podcasts, real estate's a long game. It's not a get-rich-quick anything.
No.
Right? So I think that's important when you look at those tasks that a VA will do for you.
So true. And I would definitely like to, people who are watching us or listening to us, the biggest thing is virtual assistant, it's an investment. See, you never look at it as an expense. It's an investment because it's going to buy back time. It's going to buy back time with the family. It's going to buy back that you are spending time with the clients and so forth. And the most important part of the day's work is when you are 80-20 principle, 20% of the time getting 80% of the result. But if we don't figure out what those activities are, and if the virtual assistants can bring the leads and dial in and people are waiting and everything, then we can be much more productive. So I always say that if people think I can't afford a virtual assistant, I say you can't afford not to have one. That's the key. That's the key. It's not too expensive either. Yeah.
And I want to, I'll add to that too, because you look at all of our virtual assistants, they all have 4-year college degrees. And I made a comment prior to that. I live in Connecticut, you live in California, and our minimum wage as of today is, I think, $15.69. So $15.69. And that continued to go up. So I always interview individuals here for my real estate company. So for in-house positions, and it's very difficult to get anybody who wants less than $25 an hour. So here's what I would recommend. I would recommend looking at your budget. And, for me, when I got started, I door knocked and I cold called. So that's what I did. And I was burnt out after a year. So it's those things, you're running on adrenaline when you begin. And then finally, when you get too tired, you have to realize, hey, I need help. And a very affordable help, rather than hiring someone full-time, is working with a virtual assistant.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to really be with me. I really appreciate that. And how can people reach you and your services? Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. You'd reach out to me. You could go direct or check out our email, which is revaglobal.com, www.revaglobal.com. You can email me direct if you want, which is bob@revaglobal.com. And then we're obviously on all the social media sites as well.
I love it. Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing this time with me and audience. And hey, guys, remember, if you like this episode, please share, comment, give it 5-star reviews and everything so that we can bring great guests to you. So have a great one. Bob, thank you for coming and really spending time with me. Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi friends, this is Vinney Chopra from here in Danville, California. And you might be saying, hey Vinney, what are these over here? I wrote this book a few years back, Apartment Syndication Made Easy. It became top seller. I came from India with $7 in my pocket. It says 500 million. It's going to be 1 billion very soon. I'm right at about 850, 900 million. And then I'm ready for the next billion. Actually, you will see that happening, 2 billion in this book also. The other book I wrote, which has been a very big positivity, has been my life. Always, I've been married 43 years with 2 children. And the beauty is to be positive, the mindset that can take you to all the places in the world. And that's the book that also became big seller. My third book, Senior Assisted Living, is coming. So do yourself a favor. Go ahead and click the link below to get free copies, audio copies of these books, even printed copies of these books. Printed means digital if you can't afford it. But I would highly recommend for you to get these, or go to Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon. I got it in soft cover, in hardcover, in Kindle, in audio, also the Spanish version of this book also. So let's crush it, guys. I know you can be successful. I know you can do the kind of things that you want to do in life and have the streams of income and know how to really educate yourself so that you could become a strong force in this world in real estate. I know you can. So take that step. Don't just be on the sideline. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your education.
Be sure to listen to Mr. Smiles next week with more golden nuggets and top-notch coaching tips. You can reach him by going to VinneyChopra.com. Be sure to like, comment, and share to show everyone how Mr. Smiles has brought your apartment syndication business to the next level.